What's up, everybody? It's Brian, it's Cody, it's Fourth and Dynasty here on the Dynasty Pros YouTube channel. How we doing today, man? We're on the cusp of week 7. Let's go.
Week 7, Vikings coming off a bye, and we're still undefeated, buddy. So yeah, I'm feeling great. I might be humbled this weekend. We'll see. But
Look at you. Your Vikings doing great, and your boy Bub Memes looks like he's going to be the star of the show on Thursday Night Football between the freaking Saints.
I was so excited to see him with some receptions and that touchdown.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm going to hear something about this with Cody. That's for sure.
When it happened, it was in Discord, and I typed it out, and then I deleted it.
I honestly did the same thing. I was like, oh, no, he's going to let me know. That's for sure. Oh, wow. So, yeah, 6 weeks in the book. Here we sit. For most of you Dynasty fellows out there, you pretty much know. I think at this point, if you're a contender, if you're a rebuilder, there might be some 3-3 teams sitting there. Maybe you've got a way to wiggle in, but do you know which way you're going in all your teams?
For the most part. There's still some of those 2 and 4 teams that I'm like, I think I can sneak in there if I really try, but then most of them are like, all right, we're cooked. But
so you're that guy. You're that guy in my league that I'm like, oh, he's 2 and 4. I'm gonna go trade and go pick up all his old aging assets. Like, no, give me a couple more weeks. I still think I got it.
One more. If I'm 2 and 5, I'll let it go. And you know what? I'm not even opposed with when people do that, and I say, give me one more week. Price drops after that. I'm okay with that.
That's
Just
true.
give me one more.
That is true. Yeah, I've got just before the show kicked off, I showed you a couple teams that I'm going all in as well, and then I've got some that they're stinkers. I've got 2 teams I was so pumped for. I thought I was going to be running away with it, and starting with the JJ McCarthy injury, my team's just slowly plummeted.
Some of the experiments I did in some of the charity leagues I'm in are not experimenting well. No. So I just saw the standings, and someone has to be dead last in Lionheart. This guy.
Yeah, I'm not doing too hot in my Scott Fishbowl team. It's pretty rough this year. It's okay. Oh, yeah. It was fun to draft. 4-8 right now.
10-2, baby.
Oh,
almost there.
Oh, okay. All right. So
I do like my Scott Fishbowl team. I do. And you know who's? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you go heavy with the punt returners and stuff like that? Because that's where I screwed up.
I was like, you know what? Chase Brown and Xavier Leggett are almost must starts every week because they get returns. And like Chase Brown is getting like 20 points a game, and Xavier Leggett's getting 15. And if he has 0 targets, he could get 15, and it's crazy.
Oh man, yeah, I definitely screwed the pooch on that one. Had a few late round flyers there at the very end, but just not clearly enough.
No. So speaking of contenders and pretenders, why don't we go through some? I have a few listed here for NFC and AFC, and I'm the NFC fan, you're the AFC fan, so why don't we flip it and let's see your reasons of why they might be contenders or pretenders, and then we'll give each other thoughts. So I'll start with you first, and the first team on this list should come to no surprise. Do you think the Commanders are contenders or pretenders?
I guess it depends in what context we're using contenders. If it is playoff contenders, I think that the Commanders are real. I think they're going to give a fight for the division title. We know the NFC East has to go to a different team each year. So I already had the Cowboys crossed off. I assumed that meant the Eagles, but clearly not. The Commanders are... I don't want to say the Commanders are for real because that team, they still have tons of holes. They need more pass catching weapons. The running backs are fine, I guess. Offensive line needs some help, and the defense, oh my goodness. But no, it's the bright and shiny star that we have in Jaden Daniels. He has looked so good. He is returning for you if you were a dynasty contender or a rebuilder. He's great to have on your team, and I'm so happy. Let's go Washington. They deserve a little happiness out there.
And I think even last week they did lose the Ravens, but they were in it. They were in it through all 4 quarters. So I think that's very telling in regards to if they were a contender or pretender for playoffs. I agree. It's just and in their division, the Eagles are the only ones that might be able to make something happen. Because, I mean, they're not on the list. The Giants, they're not going to contend. We know this. It just, They've had a light streak here for a little bit, but what about the AFC? Who's the first one on our list here, you think?
Let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. Tell us about the Colts. Your thoughts, contenders or pretenders?
Well, I actually do think they might be a playoff contender, but like back end wildcard team, just because I don't know if there's that many decent middle of the road teams in there. So I do think they can contend to a playoff spot, probably that 7 seed or something like that. I don't see
Mm-hmm.
why they couldn't. And we'll talk about another team later, but some of those other teams, they still don't know their full identity. And I think the Colts do, even if they go to Anthony Richardson again, even though I would say they're far more contenders if Joe Flacco just stayed as quarterback for
I think
this
so.
year alone.
Yeah, I think so too, to an extent. But I just Richardson gives us an untapped ceiling. We're not going to
For
know if he's
sure.
good unless he plays, and we need to know if we need to move on from him next year or the year after. So, I'm in team favor. I don't care if we lose this year as long as he's getting reps. That's really what I'm looking at. I
Yep.
do think that. I mean, very very small sample size we got, but in that last game before he got hurt, he was like 3 for 4 for 71 yards, and we saw the dude planting his feet. That's what we need. We needed him to calm down. He's still the youngest starter, or he was the youngest starting QB at the beginning of the season. Like, he needs
Yep.
reps, he needs time, he needs to learn, and it looked like we might have seen some of that progression. So that's really what I'm hoping for. We might be able to get some consistency out of the offense. You know, JT a regular play, Josh Downs in every week play. Maybe Pittman can be a nice flex, but until then,
Yep.
it's really hard. But I do like the Colts, and that, hell, who are they going to compete with? It's going to be them, the Bengals, and Miami for that seventh playoff spot, most
Exactly.
likely. Maybe the Chargers.
That, and I think the just like you said, the Bengals have a tough hill to climb. They just do. They're going to be in every game. They're going to lose some and win some. And the Dolphins, who knows what their record's going to be in the next 2 weeks? They might be 0-2 again, and that's a tough hill to climb for Tua. They're going to have to win out pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I think they could sneak in, and they would
100%.
they would give a tough, or like them playing the Bills in the playoff would be a tough game. They just would. So they match up pretty well in my opinion. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Anthony Richardson just really needs to check, like, just watch what Lamar Jackson and Jane Daniels do when they run. They're avoiding content. You do not need to go get the extra yard when you're the rushing quarterback, because that's obviously an asset, yes, but 8 yards and 9 yards, especially if it's week 4, it doesn't matter.
It is wild. He is significantly bigger than those two, so
He
like he
is.
should be able to take the punishment, but clearly not. I love how you set me up here. You gave me another NFC team with a bright, shining star there. Caleb Williams coming into his own in this part of the season. Some absolutely great matchups on bye this week, so another week where they don't lose. I think if anything, they're going to be like the Colts. If they sneak into the playoff, it's going to be in that seventh seed. When it comes down to it, the Packers and the Vikings, I think, are oh my God, the Lions. I didn't even think about the Lions.
Yeah.
They're going to need all four teams in the NFC North to make it the playoffs for the Bears, because I don't see them taking away from the Vikings unless Sam Darnold just completely just pumpkins like week in and week out. The Packers, I think, are one of the best teams in the NFC, and then the Lions. Like, I don't even know why I don't remember them, because maybe it's just they're in a league in their own in the NFC at this point. That team has been perfectly built. The greatest 12-year-old on Madden couldn't have built a team this well, and I think it's just going to come down to Jared Goff. Can he deliver throughout the playoffs? So Bears, I do think they are a contender, but they might be in a pretender situation. Just like it's stacked against them.
So with their 4 wins they have right now, the combined record of the 4 teams that they've beat, they have 4 wins total. And
Yes.
who does the division? The Vikings play all 4 of those teams still.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they'd really have to mess up against those teams. I mean, then after the Lions game, so the Vikings play the Lions this weekend. I don't know how it didn't get flexed into prime time, but whatever.
Right.
It's still a 1 o'clock game or a noon game, and even if the Vikings lose that game, they're still sitting good because the next 4 weeks are the Rams, Colts, Jaguars, Titans. Like, I would say probably 3-1 or 4-0 there. So
Hundred
it just
percent.
And the Lions still have those teams to play, and the Packers do too. They just played the Rams. So it's like a lot of the bad teams, the whole division still plays. So it's going to be tough sledding even just for them to contend for that spot because the NFC North is so good, is what
Yeah,
I think is the
it's
problem.
going to take some injuries. They're going to need some help along the way. They could sneak it out. They definitely could. But uh,
There's no doubt that they're better. It's just
but at that point,
how
you're
it's, yeah,
saying that only one of the NFC East is going. So that means the Commanders or the Eagles are going to sit out, and Dallas.
yeah.
That would also mean that just the
Seattle's out. Or
Seattle, Arizona, Rams, all four. I mean, the Rams have the worst schedule, but all four of the NFC West teams look like they could take it. And then NFC South, it's probably going to be the Falcons and the Bucks that might come out of there. So
Yeah,
Bears,
those
I think they're a good team. They're set up well. If they can get rid of their coach and or mainly just their OC this offseason, they're going to be just fine. They still have another second round pick from the Panthers. Let's get it going.
Speaking of good segue here. Speaking of new head coaches, I have the Chargers on the list here for a contender or pretender, and I actually do think they're a contender. And the reason why is just they already know they know their identity,
Mm-hmm.
and their identity is to beat the Chiefs. They're going to be slow and methodical, run the ball, and Herbert is only going to throw the ball probably 15, 20 times a game, but he's going to be efficient with it. And Lad McConkey, he's been better than I thought already, and just they're going to be getting a few more weapons off of IR. Like DJ Chark is not that big of a get, but it's still something, right? So it just out of again, kind of in this Colts situation, can they beat out the Colts record? I think they might. I don't have their full schedule up, but it's just more at the end of the season, which teams usually sneak out those wins if they're close one score wins. It's going to be a team like the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I've had a few matchups where I've had to pick the winner of games, and it's hard to go against Harbaugh and just his ability. I mean, hell, he got pulled out of the game because he was so sick on
Yeah,
that game against Denver. But yeah, they play Arizona, New Orleans, Cleveland, Tennessee. They're through their bye, so that's I don't necessarily think it's a good thing. They don't get that midseason break, but yeah, I think they're going to be flirting with, like I said, the Bengals, the Colts for that last playoff spot in the AFC. Last team I have here, Falcons. I say they're absolutely a contender as far as the playoffs go. I think they are a pretender when it comes to the Super Bowl. I think they can get absolutely demolished in the right matchup or just a powerhouse team when they come to the playoffs. But all in all, they are a top team, especially in the NFC. Their offense is only going to get better as Kirk evolves, and Drake London. Oh my gosh, yeah, his poster. I went to go put it on the wall. No, it's above the bed. It's on the ceiling. I just fall asleep every night staring at Mr. London. It's the best.
uh, where your Drake London poster is my Ray McLeod poster. Okay, so averaging 15 points a game or whatever he's doing right now. It's just wild.
Stupid.
So,
Absolutely stupid.
some of the weapons over there, you're just like, why, and how are you still here? Which is pretty interesting. But the last one I have on my list, that's the Steelers, and it's very interesting. I had them on the contender list, but I do think they might be pretenders. And that is because if they start Russell Wilson with what Justin Fields has done, they're a pretender. They're going to go 9-8, keep the winning. I want them to keep the winning streak alive, but not make the playoffs if they start Russell Wilson. It just we know what Wilson is now, right now. Fields still, I don't think he has untapped potential because we've seen it, but it's just you have the give and take of what Fields is. He can break off the 30-yard run. Yeah, he'll throw a pick or get a fumble every now and then, but he's going to score more points than Russell Wilson will.
I think for actual NFL, Russell Wilson gives the Steelers just a little bit more of a ceiling than Justin Fields does. For fantasy, I 100% agree. But at the same time, George Pickens has been garbage outside of the Colts game, and everybody's great except for Calvin Ridley. But Russell Wilson, we've seen him, like even Cortland Sutton, he wasn't great these last couple of years, but he was a touchdown piranha. Like he was down there just always scoring. I think Pickens might have some. I think we get more playable pieces out of the offense if Wilson is behind center than Fields. If Fields is
Okay.
back there, I'm confident in Fields and Najee. Outside of that, I think we might be able to get a little bit of Warren and Pickens action and Fryermuth.
I mean, we're the hating on Pickens. The difference between Sutton and Pickens is Sutton can get open. Wilson's not going to throw that ball if it's a tight window to Pickens,
Oh,
and he's
man.
never open because we know he can't route run very well.
Well, it's because he likes his contested catches. He thinks that's
Exactly,
a
and
cooler
Russell
stat
Wilson
than
won't do that.
separation.
Yeah. And Russell Wilson will not throw that ball
No, he's
where
he's
Justin Fields
wuss.
could. So I think that's where I think if the fans watch Russell Wilson game and they've seen 4 or 5 Justin Fields games now. I don't think those Steeler fans will like Russell Wilson very much.
Yeah, they're a relentless crew. I'll give you that. All righty,
Perfect.
we got
So
some
there's
trades here. I've
yeah.
been so excited. I've seen this on the docket, man. Let's get into these trade talks. So pumped for this.
Which one do you want to talk about?
I kind of want to
There's
get
2
Devontae
very
Adams
good
out of the
ones
way
here.
because I
Let's do
might
it.
be more excited about the Cooper one. So Devontae Adams going to the Jets for a third conditional second round pick. He's got to do some special things, but taking all the salary. Mike Williams is now on the trade block. What does this do to Garrett Wilson? That's the big
You
question on Dynasty Minds.
know what? I've been seeing a lot of hate on X about it for Wilson. I like it. I just do. And that's because, yeah, his targets is going to go down. No one's going to get 22 targets again. They weren't going to do that anyways. But will he get 10 targets? I still see him getting 10 targets, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
see him getting 6 catches. And you know what? Garrett Wilson on a corner back 2 on the depth chart, he's going to be way more wide open. So I don't, even with the less production, he's still going to put up the same value that he already has, in my opinion. Yeah, Davante Adams brings a whole new level, and he's going to be very good. But I think this actually helps Garrett Wilson's floor the most.
That's maybe not, I definitely think it helps his ceiling. Garrett Wilson won't see the amount of receptions or targets, but that's okay because I think he's going to see a huge increase in the yards total. You know, the average depth of the target's going to come up. The efficiency for the offense is going to go up. They're going to stay on the field more often. And yeah, the touchdowns are mainly going to go to Devontae Adams, as I'm predicting, but that's okay. Garrett Wilson didn't catch shit for touchdowns anyway. So what's being taken away here? Nothing. So if he's just more efficient down there, and like you said, if he's getting, the shadows looking over there to Devontae Adams, that's only going to help Wilson. Wilson's being shut down because he's the only threat. No kidding. Of course, Lazard's going to be a top wide receiver at this point. The only real threat is being covered up and blanketed. So,
Yep.
and
With that,
Lazard's just
it's interesting you said ceiling and I said floor because I think that just means I think it's just going to stay the same, right? But I mean, he had stinkers the first 2 weeks where he was scoring 1 point, 0 points, maybe 3 points, and then he had the big break off with the 22 targets, and now he's kind of come back to form. I just think he stays at that. I think there's no way he gets less than 5 points the rest of the season. So with that, I mean, I'm always a get you 10 type of guy, and he's going to get you 10.
Yeah, I mean, he was giving you a wide receiver 33, 33, 26, 64, in the first 4 weeks. And that's without Devontae Adams. I think it's going to go up with him. I get how it sounds funky. They also had a rough stretch. They had San Francisco, Tennessee, and Denver, Minnesota in that. So now you're going to get Pittsburgh, New England, Houston, Arizona, Indy. Pass the ball on those teams. Like, come on, folks. I'm making a move. I've luckily in my home league, my redraft league, my little brother has Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson now, so I'm making that play. I'm like, hey, buddy, which one do you want to get rid of? You shouldn't have both. You don't want both. And I have JSN and DK, so I'm trying to make that sneak play for JSN on DK, JSN for Devontae, but I'll keep you updated, folks.
And we know he doesn't watch the podcast, so this is a safe space.
Absolutely. Unsupportive.
Why would a younger brother support his older brother?
I don't know. All right, this is the trade I really want to talk about. Akers to the no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper to the Bills. Oh my goodness! As soon as Devontae Adams got traded, I started making as many moves as I could for Cooper because you could feel it after the Browns lost, and I didn't make it in time. The news broke, but I think this is unreal for what we're going to see. Josh Allen has been pedestrian this year in Josh Allen world. He was giving us 3-4 stinkers of a game. Why? Because he had no one to pass to. He's not going to win the game with his legs every single week. He needs to win some with his arm, and that's this is going to open up the possibility to. Amari Cooper, yes, he is an old wide receiver. He's been in the league for what, 17, 16 years, something like that. But he's still young. He's like 29, 30. He's still
30,
winning
yeah.
on separation. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that, folks.
When you're trying to trade for Cooper, I'm trying to grab Elijah Moore on waivers or trading the owner that has him just because the production's got to go somewhere and we know what Judy is. So give me Elijah Moore if you're got to stick with the Browns wide receivers.
I can't.
Some
I've
of
been
them,
on the
like,
Elijah
you
Moore
can't.
train for so long.
I know, but like I can't get Amari Cooper from the owner. So it's an easy way that I can try to get production from the waiver wire, let's say, or a team that might be contending and just needs a little piece like a Chuba Hubbard. I don't know. That's kind of tough because Chuba Hubbard's been good, but with the looming Jonathan Brooks, it might be more of a timeshare going forward. So why not just make that little jump just to see, just to see?
This is year 4 for Elijah Moore. He's only 24 years old, folks. Like, he is not out of the realm that he could still take a step. He had Zach Wilson his first 2 years. We thought, oh my gosh, let's put him on the Browns, and finally we can see what he does. And oh my God, Zach Wilson might have been better than Deshaun. I I just wanted Elijah Moore to be so good. I thought he was.
I'm bringing you back on the train. Come on.
No, I can't. I sold and I got rid of. I just have no pieces. I don't think I own it. No, I do. That's a lie. I do have
I
one
own
piece
one.
left, but it's not on purpose. It's because there's nobody else to pick up.
You know what? That's a fact. That's the only reason I have him in one league as well, because I got nothing left. What about the compensation for the Bills? What did Cooper in a 6th, and then the Browns receive a 3rd and a 7th? When the Browns traded for him, they only had to give up a 6th to the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, so they definitely did well in the trade. It's not much more than they would have gotten as a comp pick, but like, do good by Amari Cooper. He's done well by that franchise for the time there. Send him off so he doesn't have to ruin the rest of his season there. He is going to be a free agent going into it, so I think that's going to be really interesting. He is going to command, I'm sure, a decent amount of money, but as a guy in his 30s, he's gonna win some games with Buffalo, and that might spark something. Let's go get a chip. Do we get to see? I guess, where do you see Amari Cooper's value next year? Not knowing where he could be, do you still think he owns enough value where you could go trade for Cooper this year?
Where does he sit? I think he's a fringe wide receiver 1, I would say, with Josh Allen.
I think so too.
It's just he's not in his prime anymore, so that's the difference. Like, we saw a little bit of a downgrade with Diggs and Allen, but that also might just be the tension that they had between each other, which was obvious, obviously, because of the post-game stuff, right? The side-eye action was pretty memorable.
Yeah, it was pretty great, I'm not gonna lie.
So now Cooper coming out of a bad situation, and getting with Josh Allen might be a little different. So I think he's probably got some value there for 2 or 3 years. He's definitely got value there for 2 or 3 years in regard to real football, because he's going to make Keon Coleman work that much harder. And he's going to make Khalil Shakur that much better, and even Dalton Kincaid. He's just going to make the people around him not have double teams, or just, the dreaded cover 2, because Cooper can win in every aspect.
And Cooper's quietly one of those amazing pieces for your team.
Yes.
Wide receivers are the egos of the NFL, as it seems like, or at least the offensive side. Dude's got no ego at all. He has no problem going in there doing his job.
You haven't seen his Instagram?
Oh no, I don't. I'm not an IG follower there, so maybe he does have a little bit. But as
I think
far
he
as
said
like
run or rust today.
I mean, he's out of Cleveland. He can be. He shook the rust belt. He
I
moved
agree.
on. But
And
as
I
far
think,
as somebody who's chirping, running his mouth, not this guy. He's out there doing his jobs. Separating, catching the ball.
and I think he proved it in Dallas, right? Because he had Cooper and CeeDee Lamb there, and they both were productive. Now, Cooper had some stinker of games, but he obviously got Lamb to a level where he is the potential wide receiver 1, and even in Dynasty. So
We saw Cooper last year with Flacco. It was great.
exactly.
Granted, he's not going to see that volume. They don't throw the ball in Buffalo, so that's unfortunate. But I think he is a big play waiting to happen just about each and every week.
Agreed. So I agree with you. I think it does it move the needle for the Bills. Do you think?
100%. I think this is what they need to prove that this offense was just because I believe at this point that the offense has its struggles because they're a player away. Curtis Samuel is doing nothing. Keon Coleman, it looks like it's not going to be this year. And Khalil Shakir, he's talented, but that's not the kind of talent that he has. Amari Cooper can come in here and be a number one. Dalton Kincaid didn't want to be the one, and that's the big difference. You can have mediocre wide receivers if you've got that great Mark Andrews, Travis Kelsey tight end, the Trey McBride as of current. Dalton Kincaid, I drafted him in best ball because I thought he was going to be that guy. And what's up, wasted pick? How you doing? No, I'm not bitter. Thanks for
I
asking.
I agree. I agree with you. It's just we can't understate that. I think it moves the needle for the Jets though too with Devontae Adams because
Yeah.
even when they fired Saleh, right, and everything happened, they played pretty. That was the best game they've played all year. Was against the Bills.
But it wasn't Solo. It's because of Hackett. It's because they
Oh,
got
I
Hackett out of
agree.
there.
I agree
100%.
totally. But they needed something to happen. Like I agree totally with you that it
Yeah.
was Hackett, but it just seemed like they were a little bit more uniform. And I think that it's obviously going to help going forward with Devontae Adams. So I think it's a race for those two because I think the Dolphins are just out of it without Tua for the
I
next
think
few
so
weeks.
too.
I think they just get into a hole that they can't get out of.
For
And then,
sure.
yeah, the Patriots will be the Patriots. With that, what do you think about Drake May? He had his first start. I don't think he looked half bad actually.
I was impressed as far as that first game out there. I'm trying to
Yeah,
temper expectations, especially going into Jacksonville.
yeah.
Jacksonville makes everybody but Will Levis look good. So I kind of expect Drake May to. I mean, he threw two interceptions. He's still going to have some hiccups, but as far as a 5 for 38 rushing floor, he went 20 for 33, 243, three touchdowns, and he pushed the ball downfield. Demario Douglas saw a huge increase in his yards per target. Went from seven and change to 10 and change. That's big for this offense. If they can keep the defense off the field just a little bit longer, give them some breaks, they might win 3 or 4 games this season.
What was I thinking with the Titans? You were right. I should have just listened.
I
I was
bought
high on the
into. I
Titans.
bought into.
I like their team. I did, and it just I don't know
Well,
what's wrong.
especially when you look at the defense. Like this
Their
defense
defense
is
is
good. Will
slow.
Levis has to go out there and play Ryan Fitzpatrick style. Like you don't have to do a whole lot.
Exactly.
It's maybe he's a gunslinger a little bit, but like a little bit just
Yeah.
game management. Check them down to the
San
offense, not
Francisco
the
Jimmy
defense.
G, and you'd be winning 9 games, 8, 10 games.
Exactly. Exactly. But Drake
So
May, I'm excited. The
yeah,
more good quarterbacks we have in the league, the better.
I agree. That makes for way better competition and way better Sundays that we all know and remember.
Except for the
Uh,
Patriots. Ugh.
yeah, that's true. Last question here that I have for you, and then we can wrap this up. Do you think we will see any more trades coming through the deadline? I know we did bring up Akers to the Vikings. I'll make one little thing there. I think it's actually pretty big in regards to Ty Chandler might just be toast, and we needed an RB2. He just might be. I mean, what has he done? Even with Aaron Jones out, he wasn't doing anything in the backfield. So I think
But that was one opportunity. Aaron Jones has been playing too damn well for Ty Chandler to really get a shot. It's okay. He might
you
have a
know who was
chance
playing too
against
damn well when they got the opportunity behind Joe Mixon? Cam Akers.
ugh. Ugh. Yeah, the
But
Vikings
back
play
to the
Detroit and
question.
the Rams the next 2 weeks. That's not exactly a running game I'm excited to put out there.
You're not wrong. But back to the question: do you think we'll see any more trades? Because this might be the most active I've ever seen a trade deadline for the so
And
far.
it's not just like CJ Chark or something like that being moved. It's big name guys. Devontae Adams has now been traded twice.
Yeah.
Two big old trades in the last few years. Amari Cooper, I mean, hell, we've actually seen him traded 3 times now. So I have hope. I really thought the Chiefs were going to grab Amari Cooper. I've heard rumors of D Hop possibly on the move for the Titans. That would be interesting. Him going to the Chiefs, despite them not signing him 2 summers ago. Also, the Jags aren't one to do it. Their owner likes to win. But we've heard rumors of maybe ETN being on the trade block. And I think Christian Kirk, who's on the last year of his deal, I think that's an amazing move for the Chiefs to make. You talk about going in there and going to get a guy that would fill in exactly for Rashee Rice. What Christian Kirk does, he lives in the slot. So does Juju. But if you've got two guys to fill in for the one job of Rashee Rice, I think that's way better than what McKeel Hardman, freaking Sky Moore. No.
You're good. Yeah. Justin Ross. Yeah, no.
God, forgot about him.
So for our IDP players, do you think like a Max Crosby gets moved, or he's too? I think he might be just a bit too much of a superstar to get traded at a deadline like this.
And I think with their head coach, it's his first year. I don't think he wants to completely just abandon ship. He wants to get a few wins.
Then don't go with AOC, but that's just me.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't think it's the worst thing if they did trade Crosby. It'd look exactly like 7 years ago when they trade away Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper. Trade away, your star wide receiver and edge rusher again. If the Lions traded for Crosby to fill in for Hutchinson.
Will this into existence. Let's not will it into existence.
Oh my goodness. We would be
that'd be
gnarly. That would be gnarly.
And not even just nasty for this year, like next year. Crosby and Hutchinson coming from both sides, that'd be filth.
Absolutely. Yeah, Caleb Williams, he wouldn't last long in the NFC North if that happened.
I would want to sign Sam Darnold just so we could protect J.J. McCarthy again.
Right. Hey, when we're playing the Lions, JJ, you're going to sit down for this one. Yeah. Sam, it's all you, buddy.
Right. Oh, man. That's wild. But, yeah, I don't think there might be. I think I really like your Christian Kirk take there. And there might be a few more wide receivers that I think might go. I don't think running backs, maybe ETN if he is available. That'd be interesting.
Cowboys, come on. You say you're all in. Go get a running back. Hammer Javonte.
Well, we can't say anything because he'll make us lose our jobs, apparently. So.
Oh, do it. Yeah. You go ahead and take all the money away that Dynasty Pros has given us. Go ahead, Jerry.
You go right ahead. So, but did you see that on Dallas radio?
Mm.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Jerry being Jerry.
He's so dumb. He's so done, not done. He's done. I just want to reiterate that.
I'll call
anything else you want to talk about, Brian?
Man, those trades, they got the blood pumping this week. That's all I've been able to think about.
What did? Sorry?
The trades.
Oh, the trades. Oh, yeah. That was a wild week just to get my Underdog notification. And shout out to Underdog. They were like the first one on the scene on both. Mm-hmm. That's the first notification I got was them. And then ESPN and then Twitter. So I was like, dang. Or X, whatever. But I was really impressed with how they got it done. So
absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to know which app to be like focusing on my notifications now.
Pretty interesting. So, but I think we can wrap it up here, Brian. Where can they find you at?
Well, you're looking for more of me. I am at @too_much_Brian on the old Twitter app. If you're looking for more video content from me, go to Fantasy Football Advice Network. I've got Too Much Fantasy Football going on there 5 days a week. And then, of course, my written stuff's going to be on the QB list at football.pitcherlist.com. Cody, what about you? What you working on?
Just this. Just on the Fourth and Dynasty podcast. Been pretty busy in the personal life, so I've taken a back seat on writing, and I find it really hard to write about Dynasty in the regular season, so I've been trying to spitball some ideas. I just haven't found something that I actually want to write about. So taking a little hiatus there, but you'll find all my stuff at Dynasty Pros. So
putting in all his focus to you in these videos. That's all we're focused on, making sure that we're crushing it so that you guys can like, subscribe, share it more so that we're getting this thing moved on. But we got to get out of here, folks. We got to bounce. Cody, you ready?
We're ready.
Good luck, everybody. Week 7. Here we go.